Alright, then let's begin with the delete activity. In this activity, we will see how to delete the user. Then in the next, we will see how to delete the data which is related to the user which we have deleted. We will talk about that later, what is the more logical sequence of deleting a user, whether we should delete the data of the user first and then delete the user profile, or we should delete the user profile and then delete the data which is related to the user. We will come to that point later, but first let's set up the common menu, the menu that we have been using. So in the change password activity, I will just scroll down to the part where we have defined the menus, and there I will uncomment the delete profile menu, and I will just change the context here. Then let me copy this delete profile activity so that we can create one activity with the same name. So I will just right click and then new, then come to this one activity and then just select empty activity, and then we can just rename the activity to delete profile activity, then click on finish. Alright, I will start by opening activity one by one, and then I will update the common menu, and by update I mean I will uncomment the menu option for delete profile. So let's see how we are going to do it. I'll just open user profile activity, then scroll down to the part where we have defined menus, then uncomment the else if, which is for delete profile menu. Everything else is fine here, we don't have to do anything else. Then open upload profile pic activity. In the same way, uncomment the else if part which is for delete profile menu, and don't forget to finish this activity as I have explained earlier also. Whenever we are calling any activity, we have to finish the current activity so that there are no duplicate activities running in the background or running in the stack. We will only let the user profile activity run in the background. The rest of the activities we are just going to finish them. I hope you are getting the point by now. And then here we will have to change the context as well. Just change it and make it upload profile pic activity. Anyways, then open update profile activity. Then here also I will just uncomment the else if part for delete profile, change the context. Alright, and then finish this activity. Finally, open update email activity. Scroll down to the part where we have defined the menus, then uncomment the else if, finish this activity, and then update the context. Alright, in the rest of the activities I don't think we need to change anything because those activities are meant when the user is not logged in and we are not having or using any common menu for those activities. Although we are going to set up one menu for the activities which are there for the user when the user is not logged in. But anyways, we are going to see later. As of now, we don't have any menu for those activities, so I'll just leave them. And let's return back to any one of the activities so that we can copy the menu and then paste it in the activity which we have just now created, that is the delete profile activity. So let's say I'll just open upload profile pic activity, and then I will minimize these two methods and I will just copy them. Alright, then open delete profile activity, and then outside the onCreate method just paste them, and after that we will have to change the context of all the intents. Alright, then let's begin by defining Firebase Auth variable. Since we are already using Auth profile variable in the menu, so we have to define this variable anyhow, and it has to be global. So I will just define it so that we don't have any error. And we can run the app. Alright, then I'll just log in. After that, I'll click on common menu and then delete profile. Alright, so we have a blank activity. Let's return back to the Android Studio and let's start with the delete profile activity. And as usual, let's begin with the layout of the activity. And instead of creating the layout from scratch, which is going to take a lot of time, I'll just open change password activity, which we have created in the last video. And from the layout of the change password activity, I'll just copy this linear layout and whatever is inside the linear layout, and then I'll return back to delete profile activity. Now here I'll just change this constraint layout to scroll view. I hope you know why we use scroll view. It is to make sure we get scroll bars in the activity in case the content of the activity is larger than the height of the activity. Then I'll set the background for this scroll view, which has to be light gray, so that the elements which we create inside it can be white in color. Anyways, then getting inside it, I'll just paste the linear layout which we have copied. Alright, now the way we have done in the change password activity, I'm going to do exactly the same here. I'll change the IDs, the text, and the layout below properties. So you can just follow the video, and in case you are facing any problem with the layout, I just want to let you know that I'll be uploading the layout files after we are done with the video series. You can download the layout file from the description of this video when I am done with the video series. Anyways, for now you can just follow the video. We have already done these kind of changes. It's very simple. The layout is already there. We have two relative layouts. In the first relative layout, we are just taking the password as the input and then authenticating the user. In case the user is authenticated, then in the second relative layout, we will just ask the user to confirm whether they want to delete their profile or not. So this activity is going to be simpler than the change password activity. Alright, and you can see it was so simple and very easy. Anyways, then let's move to the Java class of this activity, and we have already defined the Firebase Auth variable. So let's define the Firebase user variable. Alright, then after that I'll define the EditText for taking the user password. Then after that I'll define one text view. This is the same text view which we have used to display whether the user has been authenticated or not. Then after that I'll declare one progress bar. Alright, then after that I'll just define one string variable. In this string variable, I'm going to save the password which the user enters. Then after that, I'll declare two buttons. First button is to authenticate the user, and then the second button will be used to delete the user. Alright, Then getting inside the onCreate method, I'll start by setting the title of this activity by using get support ActionBar, then set title method. Alright, then after that I'll bind the views of the variables. We have seen how to do these things before also, so I'll just try to do this quickly. But in case you run into any problem, do let me know in the comment section. Alright, then I will disable the delete user button because it is very logical. Unless the user is authenticated or verified, we cannot allow the user to delete the profile. So after the user is authenticated, we can enable this button. So for now, let's make it disable. Then after that, let's get one instance of the Firebase Authentication or Firebase Auth. Alright, then after that, let's obtain the current user using the auth profile variable. Then finally, let's check whether the Firebase user is null or not. In case the Firebase user is null, which means the currently logged in user is null. So in that case, we cannot proceed with the further authentication of the user since the details of the users are not available. In that case, we can just display one toast message and then return back to the user profile activity. And in case the Firebase user is not null, then we can begin by calling one method, let's say Re-Authenticate User. And in this method, I'll just pass the Firebase user variable. And we have already defined this method before also in the change password activity. So let's open the change password activity. And then scroll to the part where we have defined Re-Authenticate User. Then let me just minimize this method and then copy it. Alright. Alright, now we need to make some changes. First of all, we don't have any variable as user password current. So I'll just make it user password because as far as I remember, this is the string variable that we have declared globally. Alright, then the name of the EditText variable is also EditText user password. Alright, then coming to the if statement, now we are checking whether the variable is empty or not. So here we have to use the string variable that is user password. Alright, then in the toast we have to change the context, which is delete profile activity. Then after that we'll have to change the edit text variable here as well. Alright, then while defining credential, we need to change the user password variable here also. Alright, now let me expand this method. Now in this part we do not have any edit text which we can enable since we are not taking any input after the user is verified or authenticated. We just have one button. So let me delete this. And I will disable the edit text which we have used for entering the password. We can disable that. And then we can just enable the delete user button. And also we can disable the Re-Authenticate User button. Alright, I hope you're getting it. Then after that, the text view authenticated will be set with the text. That's also fine. Then in the toast, we have to change the context. Alright, then we can update the color of the button, and the name of the button here is button delete user, and the context is delete profile activity. Alright, then we need to set on click listener on button delete user. Alright, then getting inside the on click method, let's define one alert dialog box, because deleting a user is a very sensitive operation. Once a user has been deleted, we cannot get back the data. We do not need this change password method. So after the authentication is complete, if the user clicks on delete button, then we want one alert dialog box to be displayed, which will take the final consent of the user to delete their profile. So let's display that, and for that let's just define one method. Let's say show alert dialog, and then inside the else part we can just change the context of this toast message. Alright, then we have to define this show alert dialog method, and if you remember, we have already defined one alert dialog in user profile activity. In that activity we have defined one alert dialog to pop up in case the user has not verified their email address. So it was kind of a reminder as well as an option to open their email app and verify their email ID. So we can just open the user profile activity, and then we can copy this entire method, that is the show alert dialog method. We can just copy it, and then we can just return back to our delete profile activity, and we can paste it where we are defining the show alert dialog. Alright, just change this context in the alert dialog dot builder. Then we can change the title here, make it delete user and related data and a question mark. Similarly, we can change the message also that we want to be displayed to the user. Alright, then for the continue button, we have to delete the user. So I'll just get rid of everything inside the on click method, and instead I'll define a new method. Let's say delete user, and in this method I'll just pass the Firebase user variable, and I don't think I need to define anything else within the on click method. And for the negative button, that is the cancel button, we can make the user return back to the user profile activity. That is, if the user clicks on continue button, then the profile will be deleted. But if the user clicks on cancel button, that is the negative button, then the user will be returned back to the user profile activity. Alright, and we can finish this activity. And also, if you want to change the color of the continue button, we can do that. We can make it red to make it look little different. Let's open the activity and check what do we have so far. Alright, we have the delete profile activity. Let me enter the password, and I entered a wrong password, and we have toast message displayed which contains the exact exception that has occurred. Let me enter the correct password and authenticate, and the user has been authenticated or verified. Now we can delete the user, and you can see that the color of both the button is same. So we can change the color of the continue button, and you can observe that once the user is verified, the text should be you are authenticated, verified, and you can delete your profile now. Instead of you can change password now. So let me just change this. Alright, then let me change the color of the continue button. So for that, I'll just use the alert dialog, and then with it we have to use on show listener. So dot set on show listener. So which means when the alert dialog box is displayed, which means it is on show, then this listener will execute the on show method. Then within the on show method, I'm going to change the color. So just used alert dialog dot get button. Then within brackets we have to specify which button we are talking about, whether it is the positive button or the negative button. So alert dialog dot button underscore positive, and the A of the alert dialog has to be capital. Then outside the bracket dot set text color. Now here we have to define the color. So I'll just use get resources dot get color r dot color dot red. Let's run the app once again. Let me authenticate. And you can see the color of the button continue is red now. Alright, now let's define the delete user method. Now all the logic to delete the user object from Firebase database has to be defined in this method, and to delete the data which is related to the user, we are going to create another method. This is just to make it look more readable. Anyways, getting inside the delete user method, let's just directly delete the user by using the Firebase user variable. Then dot delete, it's very simple. Then dot add on complete listener. Now within the on complete method, we just have to check whether the task is successful or not. In case the task is successful, first of all we have to sign out the user, which means if the user has been deleted, then we just have to sign out the user. Then we can display one toast message intimating the user that the profile has been deleted. Then after that we can open user profile activity. Then in the else part, I'll just take care of the exceptions. Then finally, when the if and the else part is over, I'll just stop the progress bar. Anyways, then let's just run the app and see what we have till now. Let's see what are the changes we need to make. So I will just open delete profile activity, enter the password and authenticate. Then let's click on delete user, continue. Okay, user has been deleted. Now we are getting something went wrong. This is happening because of the fact that after the user is deleted, we are returning back to the user profile activity, and user profile activity is one of the activities which open up after a user has been successfully logged in, which means this activity looks for a logged in user, and since there is no user logged in, so that is why we are getting that error message in the toast. So after deleting the user, let's change this intent target activity, which means once the user has been deleted, let's open the main activity. Alright, And let's open Firebase console and check in the console whether the user has been deleted or not. So open your web browser and then open console.firebase.google.com. And here we have the data which is related to the user, and that is obvious because we have not deleted the data related to the user, and the profile picture is also there. So which means only the user has been deleted, but the data which is related to the user is still there. So in the next video we are going to see how to delete the data which is related to the user, and then we will talk about which is more logical, whether we should delete the data of the user first and then delete the data, or shall we delete the user first and then delete the data of the user, and what are the implications of these two methods. We'll talk about that in detail. Anyways, thanks for watching.